So I'm smiling because I remember when we started the journey, we were like, Spark is a $90 million investment in 6 regions across the country. And it was like 90, where did these numbers add up? And we were talking about PRI funds, program related investment from philanthropy. We were talking about some of these loans. And I have to give a shout out to the Elevated Chicago table. We were in Seattle at the time. And they were like, if you all are talking about race and racial equity more explicitly, how can you have this conversation and then talk about saddling community with debt financing as part of that conversation? And I was like, oh, because Spark was intended not just to transform the communities, but also all of the entities that was working with Spark. Yeah. And we all got better as a result. Our strategies got better. We were talking, I mean, I got to give a shout out to, we were having accessory dwelling conversations in Denver before it was not that it wasn't happening, but there were different types of land trust conversations that were happening very early on where our strategies have changed so much in these last 6 years. And Sissy, I'm just looking at you because it's funny that you're like, we existed in 2019 as a 200, because you were leading a lot of the equitable parks conversation and the equitable development conversations in a very different way when we started to talk about investment without displacement. And so I was hoping that you could give a little bit more, particularly as we have a conversation even with philanthropy throughout the journey. New funders came along, great gratitude to Balmer and others who helped to shift us. But there was also a different conversation that we had to have because you all pushed us. And again, what we had was this beautiful theory of change that we were going to help what was happening at the national go local, and what happened locally come up to the national. And it was a tornado at times. It was an adventure of pushing and pulling for accountability. So I was hoping, Sissy, you could talk a little bit more about even just the learnings, right, that you have seen in this moment and the evolution when we have this conversation about equitable development, rooting it in the realities of community. Because I think even for the national entities like the NRDCs, the enterprise, the of course, LIFT, the Low Income Investment Fund, as part of this, we all were part of a journey. And I have to shout out the San Francisco Fed because they were really part of our data journey as well to get us together, and Karen Chappell and others. Can you talk a little bit about what you feel like you've learned on this journey and what you're taking away as we then shift from this moment to a greater movement?